my street here, and everything is, we had a snow the other day, and this is why my wife said, oh, I don't want to go to Geneva in the winter time because of the cold and everything. I was going to say, we live in New England. So anyway, this is my SIHH. Hi, the first one I want to talk about is Beauvais. I got my Beauvais on. This Beauvais and that Beauvais are different planets. Now this is a travel watch, and it has 2 time zones on it that you can see, and there's a big globe, and under the name of the town is right above the globes, the 2 globes. This one has Miami, and I'm not sure what the other one is, but it's a tourbillon, and it has a night and day and a moon phase to it also. Now the interesting thing about this is that if you're not traveling and you just want a regular watch, all you do is just flip it over, and on the other side you have your watch, just like mine. Well, mine plus about $100,000. Anyway, this is a beautiful watch, and it's part of what's called the Amadeo system, which means that you can have it as a pocket watch, or you can set it up on your desk as like a desktop clock. Another one from Beauvais is the Virtuoso 5. And this one has diamonds around the bezel, and then it's got a big hour number in the center of it. It's a jumping hour. So when the hour changes, it jumps. And then you have a retrograde at the top for the hours, or the minutes that go with the hours. So right now it shows about 10:55 on that watch. Finally, is this just gorgeous Amadeo Fleurier 39. 39 is the width of that. This watch is just art. I mean, it's just pure art. They make, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 of these, and they're quite dear price-wise, but yeah, they're really really incredible watches that Beauvais has. Another company that really, they stole the show before it began, and this is Moser Cie. They came out with a watch called the Moser Icon watch, and what it was, it took every almost stereotypical feature of every watch that's been done recently, and it was a criticism of sort of the not too creative side of things. And so, you'd think, I mean, it was a joke. You know, it was like they had their Swiss cheese joke that watch, it was last year. It just Moser's this strange sense of humor, and they had this cool watch. They were going to auction it off at the end of the SIHH show and give the money to charity. There was such a ruckus over that. Oh no, you're making fun of our watches. So anyway, they had to pull it. I don't know what happened to it, but boy, I tell you, I'd love to have that watch. It's such a irony. They also had a number of other watches. This one is the Venture XL. And they have another one called the H. Moser Endeavor Concept Funky Blue. Here's the first one. This is the Venture XL. They're 43 millimeters. They're pretty big, and it's just a blue watch with nothing on it. Then they have the Venture Small Seconds, and you can see in the back, one of the things I like about Moser, it fits. I mean, when you look at the back of a watch and you see the movement fits the watch, you know that's one of the signs of a great watch. And these run about around $20 25, 26,000. These are really incredible watches. Got on my Moser right here. Here's my, this is my Henry double hairspring. The next watch they have is equally interesting, and it's their Endeavor Flying Hours. And it has a number of discs that turn. In the center, you have the seconds on a disc, and then the hours will, the other three discs turn, and the hours will light up. And so you know what hour it is when the number is lit up. Otherwise, it's dark. And that watch is very, very creative and very interesting. I think you reckon maybe Audemars Piguet had something similar to that at one time or another. Neat watch. Then there's the Endeavor Tourbillon concept, and this is just another. Again, there's a tourbillon. You can see it in the front. You can see it in the back. Beautiful watch. Very understated in the Moser way. Another one they have. This is the Swiss Alps watch, and this is another one of sense of humor that some top executive at Moser has. This was called. I mean, it was made to look like the Apple Watch. Okay, except it's a mechanical watch. And this watch it has the same movement almost as this one. This movement has the double hairspring, but again, what you'll see when you look at the back of this watch, here you have the movement. Not only does it fill it up, in fact, it overflows, where they had to make the sides a little thicker than the movement itself, but it's the same shape as the watch. I mean, you have. I have a wonderful Parmigiani Colpo with a little. It's a Torno shape, but it has a little round movement in it. So, but anyway, it's again, like I said, it's a sign of a really, really good watch. So Moser was a lot of fun this year. I think a little too much fun for some companies. This next watch is the Carl F. Bucherer Monero Peripheral, and it's just a nice, elegant looking watch, and this particular one is in rose gold. Now, what's different about this, and they introduced this watch, I think it's last year before last, is that this one's 43 millimeters. The earlier ones were 40 millimeters, and if you look at the back of this watch, you can see why it's an automatic, and looking for a rotor. Where's the rotor? Well, the rotor is along the peripheral, and if you look between, there's sort of like a half loop between 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. That black piece of metal is what the rotor is, and it goes around, and at the same time, it gives you really a good view of the inners, and it's a chronometer. It's a chronometer certified watch. So Carl F. Bucher's seems to be really getting into not only strong horology with its own movement, but looks like something going for high horology. The finishing on it, the details on it, and everything else. Is really something, and I really like this watch. This is another one that is going to be interesting to see where it goes. Now, fairly economical side, the new Cartier. I like this watch. It's a fairly simple watch. It's nice and clean. It's only about, I think, around $5,500. And this in stainless steel. And on the back, it has no exhibition window. And the reason for it is that they wanted to keep it thin. And that's one way to do it, is that you don't put in an exhibition window. Now, talking about thin watches, there's a new Piguet that has a record thinness. It's so thin that it is, you can see the movements on through the dial. The only way to make this was that the plates for the movement also made it part of the plates for the dial, and it's an automatic, and it's the thinnest automatic ever made. And of course, the back of the watch, like I mentioned in the Cartier, is solid metal. It's not there's the thickness that's added by having a sapphire one. I think it's like 4.5 millimeters. That's how thin it is. And it's a 41 millimeter wide watch. You need the real estate out this way because you don't have it this way. So that's another really interesting watch that came out of this latest show. The next watch company is one of my favorite, Vacheron Constantin. They came out with something called the 56, and the model that they have is reminiscent of the early 50s, 1956 to be exact. And they have three basic models. They have what's called the complete calendar, they have the day date, and then they have the self-winding. Now, the one that is interesting, did I say I had on my Vacheron Constantin? Anyway, the one that's interesting is the self-winding stainless steel. And the reason it's interesting is that it's targeted at Rolex owners who are thinking, gee whiz, wouldn't it be nice to have a Holy Trinity? And they priced it at $11,600 for the entry level. And they have three different, three different watches, but they have two different levels. One level, and this is the 11,000 entry level one, is the movement does not have the hallmark, the Geneva hallmark. And it's not that it's not good, it just adds to it, adds to the price. In other words, the process that a watch has to go through to get the Geneva seal adds to the cost of it. Now, both the day date and the complete calendar models do have the Geneva seal, but the entry-level one doesn't. And I thought it was interesting how they say, well, somebody who's got Rolex is saying, gee whiz, boy, wouldn't it be nice to have a Holy Trinity? But those things are like $20,000. And so what they did is that they brought out an interesting one with the 56, very elegant, typical Vacheron Constantin, understated elegance. And I think it's the kind of watch that looks like, somebody stepping up into the executive office is thinking, maybe a Rolex looks a little too rough and tumble. They're great sports watches. They're great watches, period. But for on the dressier side, this might be something that'll go over big. Last year, they had the Quadrille, or actually a couple of years ago, I think, they came out with the stainless steel Quadrille around, I think they priced it around $15,000. It was not popular. I love the Quadrille. It had the Geneva seal on it, and I still like that watch a lot. Maybe I'll get one someday if I can find one. But that just didn't go over very well, and so they're trying this one, and I think it'll be successful. I think it's a great idea, great watch. This next one I want to talk about is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Polaris. They have 5 different watches: the chronograph, WT, the automatic, Memovox, and date. Now, the entry level, and again, this is to me, entry level into high horology, I think is important, and they certainly have one in the Polaris, and it's a 41 millimeter case, and it has the stainless steel. It's the middle one there, the blue one, and it's got it has a 40-hour power reserve on an automatic. That's not quite as important. The movement is an 898E/1. Of course, Jaeger-LeCoultre, it's all in house. It has something interesting. It has 2 crowns on it, and the 2 crowns, One is simply winds the mainspring, and the other one is it winds this in it's an internal bezel on which the glass sits. Your sapphire glass sits on top of it, but there's a space there, and it rotates. It's called a rehaut. The French term for it is rehaut, or usually call it an internal bezel, I suppose. And one of the crowns winds it, and what it does, it measures elapsed time. So it's really a very interesting watch, and it's the kind of thing I suppose one would take as, well, this is a good office watch, I think. The kind of thing, you wear to work, and in a very much of a white collar kind of thing. Even a junior executive, I think, would have something like this. I like this series. It's got one thing about it, though, that sort of drives me a little nuts. And, with a 41 millimeter case, width case, the movement looks pretty small in there. And other than that, though, to me, it's a very interesting line of watches. I like the looks of them. And it's, again, for entry level, relatively inexpensive for this level of watch. And so it's something I think that both collectors and people looking to get into high horology might want to take a look at. Well, another thin watch that came out is the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak RD number 2 Perpetual Calendar. And it's only 6.3 millimeters thick. And it looks like a great big sports watch, and it is, but it's not very fat. It's a very thin watch, and this was another thing is that they're going for more. Now, the thing of the thinness is that it's a mechanical watch, and that's that's a lot harder to make thinner than what's that, quartz watch of some sort with a little skinny battery. Couple other watches that I found, and there's lots more watches. I was able to just scratch the surface of what came out this year. It was the Laurent Ferrier annual calendar it's more of an old-fashioned style of calendar on the dial of it. It has the date, and it's a Laurent Ferrier. What can I say? Now, this is in terms of going geek crazy, is this Grubel Force differential Égalité. This watch, again, the Égalité, using a differential, it takes the average of from the differential and keeps more accurate time with it. Now, like all of the watches from this company, they're just fantastic. Unfortunately, they're also so surprised. So, well, let me urge you to do this. Go to the Foundation of High Horology and go to the SIHH show from there. Just put in SIHH and take a look at all of these incredible watches that have come out this year. The ones I picked are either ones you could geek out on, or the other ones, some of the ones like the Cartier and the Jaeger-LeCoultre, they're pretty good prices. And of course, that new Vacheron Constantin is a good price too. Anyway, as always, I'm very interested in your opinions, so leave a comment. And if you'd like to subscribe, this is an invitation to subscribe. So it's been Bill Sanders for Watch Art Cie, the art and science of watch collection.